So you don't know what to draw, right? And then you find an amazing picture, but you don't know how to sketch it. What are you gonna do? Well, you came to the right video to find out how to do it. So let's get started. Cue an intro. Missing someone. Welcome back to my channel, Deep Defy It. And if you're new here and you want to be an artist and you want great tutorials and everything, well, you should just like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be helping you guys out so much more. See, I'm a beginner artist too, but I have some techniques that I could share with you guys. So the first thing you need to do is find a good sketch or like a reference. And then once you get your reference, then I'll show you how to break it down step by step. What I'm focused mainly on is drawing people. So we're going to be mainly focusing on human poses. So I'll tell you the rest of the topics one by one, so let me get the first reference for you guys. Okay guys, so the first thing you guys can do is go to Pinterest. So Pinterest.com. So I have random stuff on this board. So let's search up for we're gonna search up human poses. Now these poses will be easier to break down. So let's find a basic reference. This one has a really nice spine. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll save it to my files. Now we're gonna go back and we're gonna find another pose. I also like this one, how unique it is. Remember, if we screenshot, we can get the full pose. I'm gonna save it again. So now, if I go to my files, I should be having one screenshot and another. So let's start with this screenshot. So guys, grab your sketchbooks and any other supplies you use. So now we're going to talk about supplies right up now. Okay. So there are different ways you could start a sketch. There's one where you do a pencil sketch, or you could try doing a colorful sketch once you get your final product. Mainly, you want to start with the pen, but sometimes your images will become smeared. So let's go on. And another good technique you could do is find some really good pens. And I've used gel pens. It's totally fun to use gel pens if you don't have any other pens. And then you just sketch on top of it. And then you can draw your things with like a pencil or another black pen. So let's go to a new area. And what I use normally would be a pencil right here, some gel pens, it really does depend which color you're going to use, and an eraser. Why I say for the gel pens that the different colors depend really is because these gel pens, they really do depend because the colors will change. So the first step is to get your reference image right here. And the first step is that we're gonna break this apart. So I'm gonna go to the markup. I'm gonna grab a really vibrant color. So how about a really vibrant pink? So let's zoom in on her head, yeah? You could see that shape right there. That's her head. Now the next part, which I really like about hers, is that spinal section. And then she has her legs here and there, right? Then she has her arms zooming in and out like that. I'm gonna make this line thicker. Now we're gonna change the color. We're gonna try to separate the sections. So there, here would be her shorts. And as we already said, right here and here are her lines, like her legs. So we're still gonna break this down. Of course, you really don't need it for your legs or arms. The main spot is just the body posture here. So, now that we have that done, we're gonna choose another color. And we're gonna zoom in right there. And we're just gonna make a big box. Now we're gonna do the same thing here. Now we have one leg here, so we're gonna circle that. Since the other leg is not visible, we cannot circle it. Now we're gonna circle some joints. We're gonna circle such as the elbows and the knees. So, you should have an image sort of like this. We're gonna break this down step by step. If you want this image, just join along with me. Who knows, maybe I'll add it to the description later. So, let's get back to the sketching section. So back to the sketching. The first section that we started with was finding a reference. Then we talked about the supplies we have. So then again, it really does depend. For today, we're going to start with a basic simple artist tool, a pencil and an eraser. So we're going to leave our eraser there. The first section that we did was the pink section. And the first step we did was the head. So you could see that this posture is in like a portfolio type of section, like a portrait. So what we can do here is sketch out a rectangle. Chicken scratching is okay and is mainly known when you don't really make firm lines. It's really used for beginners. But they really do help with your shapes. And remember, it's a sketch. It's okay if it's messy. So there's my sketch. It should be about nearby the same size as this. Since this is a phone, it's going to be really close to the same image as the size. So, the next step is we're going to zoom in on this girl's face. Sort of, I guess. And you're just going to draw it like just a light circle. Ovalish circle. So, now the next step that we saw was the spinal cord. So, this is her shape of the spinal cord. You can see that's bending forwards. We then have her hand going outward like this and like that. Her legs right now are somewhat joined together, but so now that we got that done, we gotta zoom in onto the blue section. So don't worry about all the outfits that this character has or anything. just start with the basic shorts and a shirt. Sort of like that. Now, if you want to see her that bend, since she's bending slightly this direction, you need to see her hip bend just a little here, but barely any here on this side. Now, for the arms, since her arm starts here, we're going to draw a big circle right there. This is where her shoulders are. We're then going to draw another circle to show the elbows and a big box for the hand. Same goes here. Another hand here, a circle here, and a circle there. Since this area in the phone, in this image particularly, you don't really see the shoulder on this side, so it will mainly be covered. Whereas on this side, you can see it. So now you're going to just take your thing and you're going to add like slight curves. It's kind of like a light W if you think about it. And here you're just going to draw straight. Don't worry if it doesn't look even now. It's alright. Now you're going to try to draw in her knees. As I've said, it's okay. Gonna add in our circles so we can indicate the knees. And then we're gonna draw in a big rectangle. Okay, sketch, check. Now it's time to add on to our details. So, in this case, details would be like hair, the face, the fingers, and the clothes, like the total outfit. So, let's get started with that too. So, you're back. Okay. So, right here, you need to make sure that you get the face proportions right. Since you've got the sketch done, you want to sort of get an eraser, and don't worry if you think this is kind of weird, it's okay, but you want to lightly erase your sketch. Don't erase really hard, and that's why you should sketch lightly, because if you sketch lightly and erase it, you'll hardly be able to see it. So just lightly. Make sure you didn't draw any lines too hard. It's okay if you draw really hard, but just make sure it's easy to erase. You should have a square one, but with a light sketch. Make sure none of your joints are showing too hard. Okay. So, you're going to start like this, like that, and we'll continue on after I finish the clothes. You guys will probably not see that there's any gap or anything, but okay. So, it's not going to be a perfect sketch. So you can see, since we're mainly angling it here, that this area will be much more bigger, like wide, compared to this side, because we're angling it towards here, especially since our spine is angling that way too. Okay, so the next step is here and there. Now your character's clothes would really depend, but remember this, when the hip is slightly different than the other side, it's more curved, then you'll barely see a little hint of the stomach. It really does depend. Okay, I'm moving on to our arms. Remember the points that we made with the circle. And now this is the interesting part. Hands. So hands are actually really hard to draw. They're not as easy as you think. So, I'm just gonna give it my best. Just look at the reference for a while. So, I did my best. So, that's what all matters. It's okay if you don't know how to do it. Who knows, you could fix it later. Okay, before we go into the second hand, we're gonna look at her head. So, we're gonna add in her neck, and we're gonna add in the basic head. Okay, just draw like it really doesn't matter how you draw your face. Just make sure that you got the body proportions right. Now I'm gonna just add in her hair. It's a really light detail. So, her hair is hanging downwards because of gravity. So, let's go back to her other hand. Unfortunately, my hand got cut off in this image compared to here, so I don't really need to worry about that. Before we move on, you want to look at anything you would like to change. Since I would like to change this section, especially my arms, I like to change this part and that. And again, I want to change it. Make sure it's like correctly proportioned. Okay, I'm seeming to like this one better. It looks more realistic. But I made a mistake on my hands, was that I made my hands too long. That's a better sketch of a hand. Now we're going to go on to her legs. So, there's one leg. And then we're just going to add in a light heel. So, the main part is how she's doing this pose. Think about it. There's this pole going right between her. Continues going down. Now you can see here that my problem is that my thing is not adjusted here. So I'm gonna change it, make the pole go here and there. That way it makes everything more angled. We don't want any overlapping. One thing I like to do to sometimes my sketches is that like I shade the main object. So I'm gonna shade it and shade it. There. Now you can't tell that it's there. And now you can see her main body. Then you just add in the background. So the background could be like a quick sketch. Like just make it really quick. See, this is pretty simple. Once you get the hang of it, I'm sure you'll be able to do it. Another section that I'll be talking about in another video is perspective. So, here's the first reference. Let's now move on to the second reference in the image. Back on here, we're gonna mark her up. This time, I'm not even gonna bother taking some different shapes. I'm just gonna add in the big shapes. So you can see it's kind of like a girl with a hunched up, wearing a backpack. I'm not even focusing too much on the details. See, I just gave like a quick outline of all the body parts almost. So, let's get the sketching ready, guys. So, the next section that you gotta worry about is now the box. Remember, chicken scratching is okay. I'm gonna make it preferably a little bit bigger compared to my first sketch. I want it to be easier to see. So, if you see this, the first section would be her head. So I'm going to draw a big circle here and add another smaller circle to signify her ear. I'm just going to draw a line down and I'm going to just connect. That's the basic section of her head. Later we'll be able to add in the quick noses and details. Now from this point, we'll be able to act like that. Okay, so there's the body shape. Next, I'm going to focus on not focusing too much on the details of the clothes. Just making sure that we have all the main ideas. You can see that she started sort of walking. Again, I'm just adding this in. There you go, you have a good sketch. Now, the next section that we're going to work on is you don't really need to erase your sketch sometimes, but it really does help. What I normally do is, if I add too much details and I just don't want to rework it out, I just erase the details on the face. And then I'll zoom in on her face. I'll then add in details of her hair. And I gotta make her head bigger. Don't forget to add her ear here. Really confusing, I know, right? There. To make things easier, I'm gonna erase her ear section right here. What you're gonna do about the face is you're gonna really like to change it. Gotta change its expressions. Now, expressions is another thing that I'll cover later. Now, what you see here is her face is slightly different compared to a normal average face. The thing is, she's looking upwards. Now you get add in her hair. Okay. Not a big difference. There. Now I can add on her backpack. So we're really not focusing right now on this sketch specifically. The sketch, the outline proportions. I'm just adding whatever detail, whatever makes it look realistic. There. Added a few squiggles and stuff. Now we gotta work on her leggings. Adding in her shoes. Okay, so here, now we're gonna add some creases. Now see, creases are very important, so that she'll wear this. Specifically, she's tugging on her shirt, so we're gonna add some creases here and there. And then she has some subtle creases on her pants. So you could slightly identify the crease. Now moving on to her hands. Erase the bottom of your hands. We're gonna see that she's holding on to this. There. So she's holding it there, and right here she's just holding on. Okay. Since this is not really the big point, she's technically not walking anywhere, but so let's just imagine that she's walking here. There's a bit of trees. It's just an imagination, you guys. Sunlight's coming and she's just walking. She's just strolling. You know? She's on the sidewalk, just strolling around, you guys. So, let's review it. Right now, this is where you could get this stuff. So there's structure and other specific spots. Drawing from reference isn't that bad, you guys. So, we used perspective on this sketch. We also used different types of materials. We looked at her spine and everything and where she's looking. That's what perspective is really about. I'll go more in depth in another video about it. Here we used more of our imagination. We did more of our drawing more freely on this one compared to this one because we used the full-on body structure. So, we completely followed along with the body structure on this image compared to this image where we really didn't. But this is how it works, you guys. That's just how the drawings work. So in the end, let me show you the details. For this drawing, we got this. And for this drawing, we got this. So doing imagination and perspective is a really big difference. But these are still only a few techniques that you can follow along for drawing. So I hope you guys enjoyed my tutorial. I'll make more tutorials if you guys like and subscribe, and comment down which perspective or imagination, like which one is better, which technique, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!